Stop making these critical email design mistakes that are costing you thousands in lost revenue. I get it. You're putting in the effort. You're sending emails regularly, but somehow the sales just aren't where they should be. Here's the truth. Bad email design kills conversions. So today I'm breaking down 5 email design best practices that will skyrocket your e-commerce sales. Let's get into it. But if you're new here, let me introduce myself. My name's Andrea, and I run a digital marketing agency called Dia Creative, where we work with 6- and 7-figure e-commerce brands to help scale their businesses, like Sprayology, whose emails I pulled as examples in this very video. They've been working with us since January 2022, and we've grown their business on average 23% per year for the past 2 years straight. If you want to see growth for your business like that too, feel free to drop us a line and let's nerd out on some marketing. So here are 5 email design best practices to boost your sales this year. Mobile first design, because that's where the sales happen. Mobile design is not just for web, but also for email. And a lot of your ESPs will let you have a desktop design of the email and mobile version. Now, if you are low budget or moving very quickly, you can just create that one design. Just make sure it looks good on mobile and desktop. But sure, everybody says mobile first, mobile first, mobile first, but how do you actually do mobile first design? Now the tactics I'm going to show you right now are good if you are designing just one email design or if you're designing a desktop version and a mobile version. So first and foremost, stick to a single column layout, 600 pixels max width. Make sure that your design looks good and clean on desktop versus mobile. Really just make sure that everything kind of fits really nicely in here. Next, we want to go into responsive design because responsive design is so important. Let me show you exactly what that would look like in Klaviyo. So let's say you're in Klaviyo and you're going to just create some random email campaign, which is what I'm showing you. You can see here, this is desktop versus mobile design. So right at the top, you can easily toggle between the 2 different views and see exactly what you're going to see when you're sending it. This also allows you to actually send 2 completely different designs if you wanted to, desktop versus mobile, in case you have that type of more in-depth strategy. For a lot of brands, this ends up becoming overkill because their desktop designs are actually simple enough that it looks really clean and you can just keep with that. But there are some elements in Klaviyo that allow it to be super easy to toggle between desktop and mobile without having to rebuild the whole mobile email. There's 2 particular aspects I'd like to show you. One is split and one is table. Now, split would allow you to drop in some content and you can see it's 2 different columns here. And when I put it in mobile, you'll see they stack automatically. So you can control how these columns look and whether or not they stack and how they stack by just jumping here under style. And then you can see they stack right to left. They can stack left to right. So you can see the second column is on top now versus the first column's on bottom, versus right to left, which is what I showed you first column, second column, or you could say no stacking and on mobile, they won't stack. Ideally, you want to build elements into these areas, even if it's images that will stack so that on mobile, they have plenty of room. Because you'll see when they're not stacking, they don't have enough room, especially if they're 2 pretty solid images. They'll end up shrinking them down and you won't be able to see them properly on mobile. The next one I want to show you is table. Now you see you just drag this one over just like that, and you have 2 columns here. What table lets you do, which is really nice, if you jump here under style, is you can add more columns. So if you want to add more elements to this particular table so that you have a more complex design. The other thing that's really cool is you can choose each column if you want it on desktop only or mobile only. So you'll see here we have 3 columns, which might look really nice on a large desktop screen, but on mobile, we might just want to hide that first one because it's kind of irrelevant to the design, and for mobile, we really want to slim it down. These elements are by default in your Klaviyo. So when you're mapping out your responsive design in a platform like Klaviyo, you can really start thinking through what should be on mobile and desktop without having to redesign the whole thing in mobile. This is an example of what it would look like when you're all done. You can see here we built these out with the split or the table, and you can see how they're stacking so that this is the mobile version and here's the desktop version. It's still only one design that we had to do, but it can look really nice and clean on both desktop and mobile. Next, big bold CTAs, minimum of 46 pixels tall. Remember, on mobile, you are looking at a tiny screen, and mobile is multiple different dimensions depending on which iPhone you have or Android phone or whatever kind of phone you have. Keeping it to a nice, even 46 pixels tall for all of your CTAs, making them big and bold. You see how the color really stands out in our design. We'll make them clickable, which is what you're looking for when you are looking at responsive mobile design. Next, above the fold impact. That means when you are on a phone, look at all of these things that clog up the top of your phone. You really want to make sure that right at the top, you grab people's attention. Mobile users skim fast, so make sure that your main offer and CTA is visible within the first 3 to 4 lines. So right up here, right at the top, they don't even need to scroll down. You're instantly telling them what the offer is and what they should do. Click here to let the sunshine in. 2, strategic CTAs, because confused customers don't buy. A great email with a bad CTA placement is like a Ferrari with no gas. It just will not get you anywhere. What does that exactly mean? 1 primary CTA, not 5 different ones. Let's keep it super simple. Be very direct with what you're looking for. 1 primary CTA, shop now, view our collection, subscribe now, click here. Just keep it very focused so people know exactly what it is you are looking to get from them in that email. I mentioned this in the first tip for mobile design, but absolutely above the fold placement. If there's nothing that feels clickable in the top portion of the email, people won't click. Your click rate actually does go down. People do not scroll forever to find the action button. Even if you make that image clickable, if it doesn't seem psychologically that it's clickable, they don't click it. And 3rd, make it pop. Make your CTA contrast with the background. Don't let it blend in. Use more dynamic text, something that kind of disrupts them from the everyday gamut of marketing emails that they're getting all the time. Let's see exactly how that looks. So here you go. Treat yourself for some sunshine. Right up here at the top, you've got a big, bold CTA. It's very clear. Save 10% now. This is how you'll save. You can see the product. You can see a little bit of design. It really pops. And right up here, you actually wouldn't need to scroll down the email at all unless you wanted to learn more about this particular product. So right here, clear up front, they can instantly get in and shop. We even did a test to prove this out, putting the CTA bright, bold up here above the fold, keeping this very simple versus a much more complicated, detailed educational email. We saw a 20% increase in click-through rates with emails like these. Tip number 3, personalization. Because hey, first name is not actually personal. I mean, it is personalization, but it's like so basic personalization. You can do so much better with personalization. It's what people need to feel connected to your brand. Without personalizing, you are leaving money on the table. But how do you make real personalization work? 3 easy things to focus on. 1, using dynamic content. This content is custom made based on each individual aspect of your site, products of your site, or information you want to get across. This content can be pulled in based on behavioral triggers, which is my second thing. So abandoned cart emails, product recommendations, browse abandonment emails. All of these things convert amazingly well. And these are triggers that would pull in those dynamic content blocks. So as an example, if you went to visit a product and then you bounced off, maybe the next email we send will have custom content based on that product, which is a different email that I would get because I did not browse that product. And finally, engaging subject lines. Instead of check this out, try we messed up, here's 20% off. Curiosity has created significantly more opens. We actually had one brand where we did a split A/B test of a curiosity-based subject line versus a regular one, and we saw 50% more opens than without some sort of curiosity. Emails are blending together. They're getting boring. How can you make your subject line more engaging? And to just bring my point home even further, here are a few examples by industry that I've pulled out. So for one, airlines. Airlines begin with frequent flyers who haven't booked in the last 90 days, sending them personalized flight details to destinations they've searched for or previously visited. I'm sure you've seen this if you've visited any airline site. Redfin and other housing apps also do something similar based on any houses that you've viewed. Pet food use behavior-based flows like reminders to restock their dog's favorite raw food subscription. You can start small with those who have engaged in the last 30 days and expand as your list warms up. Here's another few. Focusing on hyper-engaged segments. So in beauty, you could target customers that recently clicked on a sale email and follow them up with showcasing bestsellers or limited time offers, because you now know that they are likely a more price sensitive customer. And so maybe giving them more sale options, but other options on your site that are also on sale. Craft supplies. Focus on DIY enthusiasts who've engaged in the past week. Highlight popular seasonal projects based on their past behavior. Are they more of like a woodworker, or are they more like a scrapbooker? Send them things that are relevant to their individual likes and needs, and that will feel more personalized, and that will get you higher conversions. And finally, segmenting based on their browsing or purchase behavior. I touched on this a bit in the original list. Hardware supplies for a customer who browsed tools but didn't buy, send an email comparing most popular options with ratings and reviews. And this is a great place to pull in those dynamic content blocks. So you have all these different content blocks built out for each of the different products, and they get pulled in based on that browsing behavior. So they're not getting sent an email with like 15 different content blocks. It only pulls in the 2 or 3 based on their browsing history. So as an example, for luxury products, they might need a little bit more convincing on why they should spend this much on your product. So pulling in dynamic content that really details out why that's more interesting and more valuable and why you should spend more versus some of the less expensive products on your site that might not need that dynamic content block or might just need ratings and reviews. So optimizing each product for how to convert and then making sure your emails support that with dynamic content is the entire name of this level of personalization you can get into. Number 4, visual hierarchy, because no one reads a wall of text. People skim their emails, so your design should guide their eyes. But how exactly does that work? You break it down into headline, subheader, CTA, a clear flow so people know what to do next. That's how you're going to get maximum impact for your emails. Keep your text to image ratio around 60-40. Don't overload your emails with giant images. Balance is key because you want to get something that appeals to everyone that's looking to get that information quickly, however they feel like getting it at that point. So I'm going to zoom out on this email a little bit so you can see it better. Here's headline, subheadline, and CTA right up here up top. And then you've got an image. You can see it's very balanced with the images versus the text. CTAs are big and bold and clear. You'll see that this is the biggest block of text that we have in the email. And we've broken out this second line because we want it to stand out. We want it to really be, this is the message that they take home that they should understand. And then you have all your different CTAs that you can click on, and they're very bright and bold so that you can get that high click-through rate. And last but not least, let's go into emotional appeal, because logic doesn't drive purchases, emotions do. We don't buy things because they're logical. We buy things because they make us feel something, or they fulfill a desire. They solve a problem. They make us feel safe or comfortable. But how exactly do you make your emails emotionally compelling? Tap into FOMO and urgency, fear of missing out. Only 5 left. Sale ends tonight. It creates action. It creates a need of saying, not tomorrow, today. Do this right now. This is when you need it to do it. Let's get you moving today. 2, tell a story. Sharing customer experiences or brand founder experiences. Why your brand exists instead of just listing out your products. Like, really engage in why they should buy from you. There are so many options out there, and likely your product has a lot of different competition. The only way to stand out is to connect emotionally with your audience. And finally, use benefit-driven language. This is a fundamental marketing principle, actually, is always think through the solution. What do you mean to that person? What do they need from you? Why are they even looking at you? So instead of using things like our skincare has vitamin C and listing off all these ingredients, I may or may not know the benefits of vitamin C to my skin, but what I do know is that I want to get glowing, youthful skin with every application. That is the promise your brand is making to me. So you really want to make sure that that comes across, because that's how I really understand what the benefit is to me of buying your product. Want to see how this looks in practice? Well, here is another Sprayology email that we designed where you can very quickly see it's got a nice dynamic image that grabs you. It very clearly says what the message is, what the information is. We have this nice pop of color. We have some really cool design elements that really show that the bottles stand out on the page. So all of this really grabs your attention. And then we want to have this little bit of urgency. Shop now while stock lasts. So we might be running out. So you really definitely need to buy right now. And this is your last chance. So we get that sense of urgency. This deal is leaving if you do not buy it today. Next, we do mention the vitamins because this is a vitamin spray. But if we just listed off the vitamins, it would not be relevant. So instead we talk specifically about what these vitamins do for you. Important for bone and muscle strength and immunity. This helps your body produce more of the protein needed for blood clotting, which keeps calcium in your bones. Like, we very clearly explain the science behind the products so that we can get that purchase from somebody that wants to trust us and wants to understand what is the benefit of buying our product. What are they going to get for it? Why should I buy? Why should I give you my hard-earned money? Because I want to have better bone density. I want to have better muscle strength and immunity. And even here you can see that we threw in some testimonials. We hid the name just for this video, but you can see exactly what we're trying to get across, that there is that sense of social proof. So I know that I can get the same results that somebody else did. And if you found this super helpful and you now have 5 great things to focus on when you're designing your emails, let's go into one last bonus tip, just because I like you. Not all images work well in email, but here's what converts. 1, real behind the scenes images. People trust brands that feel human, especially with the rise of AI. 2, high quality product photos, but not overly staged. Show real life use cases, but show them in the right light. Everybody knows your iPhone and Android take great pictures, so they have an expectation of quality. They want to see what they're going to get before they spend their money. 3, GIFs and animations. Oh my gosh, this has made such a difference for us, especially in beauty, food, and pet brands. That dynamic movement and animation has helped so much. It actually saw a 109% revenue increase using GIFs in emails for one of the beauty brands we work with. So real quick, we're gonna pop over to our website so I can show you exactly how email GIFs can work. So if you go over here to email marketing, you'll see this is an example of a beauty email that we designed out, where you can see all the different GIFs that we had. For beauty in particular, it really helps you stand out. So that's your example there. And finally, personalized visuals, including customer names and images for a cool, hyper-personalized experience, which you can do with a couple apps that we will list down below in the description. There are interesting ways to also break up images where you can use dynamic text in builders like Klaviyo, as long as it has the same background color. Here's the thing. We are all going to be making email design mistakes. As a marketer, that's how you learn. That's how you grow. That's how you can continue to optimize. And these are the lessons that we've discovered over the last 5 years of constant email testing across brands in the e-commerce space. So if you want emails that convert amazingly well, you're going to need to figure out the right strategy, personalization, smart automation, and amazing design. And that's where we can help. If you're feeling a little overwhelmed, or you feel like you would like to send this off to somebody else to handle for you and help grow your business, we have consistently scaled e-commerce email revenue 2 to 3x. So if you're interested, click the link below and let's chat. And if you're not quite ready yet, check out our next video, 10 e-commerce email marketing tactics for 2025, so you can reach 42x ROI.